All right then. Oh, Jaime Lannister, everyone's favorite reluctant knight and disowned Kingslayer. Or should I say Jaime, because really the name being spelled Jaime, it sounds suspiciously like the Spanish name Jaime. So why not? Have I said that before? Oh, only every single time. Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah. This chapter starts with Jaime nursing a very particular grudge against all the honorable people in his life. And I mean, fair enough, okay. After all, it's been quite the journey for this guy, losing a hand, escaping Harrenhal, and trying to make peace with the fact that every bard in the land keeps writing songs that make him sound like an irredeemable villain. Today, though, today is all about family, honor, again, honor. And there's no place like home, yada, yada, yada. Now, I won't be recapping Jaime's trajectory since he left King's Landing way back in Eddard 9, because I have already done that in my previous commentary, Jaime VII. So yeah, welcome, dear listener, to the rambling commentaries of an insane person online. We are reading George R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, ASOS, Storm of Swords, right now, more specifically, chapter 67, Jaime VIII. Before we dive in, a reminder: these commentaries are spoiler free for future, reference or future events. If you're reading this for the first time, don't worry. This is a look back at what's happened so far, not a peek into the future. In other words, I'll be looking back and not ahead. Long and boring way to say I won't be spoiling any chapter beyond the one I'm covering. I know there are quicker ways of, more succinct ways of saying this, like what do they say on the Wheel Weaves podcast? We won't be covering any chapter beyond this one or past this one or something like that. Anyway, buckle up as we sink our teeth into Jaime Lannister's ongoing existential crisis with plenty of banter, a few swords, and just enough emotional depth to make you almost forgive him for pushing kids out of windows. There you go. Let's not forget that, yeah? Right, anyway. Welcome back to King's Landing, or as Jaime might call it, the Lion's Den. Jaime's arrival at the White Sword Tower, the King's Guard headquarters. Jaime's arrival there is the centerpiece of this chapter. And it starts kind of like a nursery rhyme. A white book sat on a white table in a white room. This kind of makes me think of like once upon a time there was a dark, dark moor. On the moor there was a dark, dark wood. In the wood there was a dark, dark house. So where's that from again? Just got stuck in my head and I can't remember the author. Anyway, lots of white walls, lots of uncomfortable chairs, and not a speck of personality in sight. And not a speck of dust either, because it's kept, immaculate. The place is kept immaculate. And we've all worked in places like that at some point or another in our lives, haven't we? Now, but this time, Jaime will relocate to the attic of that same tower, as opposed to one of the cells on the first 3 floors, which had been his quarters for 18 years, because he's in charge now, commander and all. So he get the top floor all to himself, a penthouse with a sea view and a bathroom en suite. Which, if it's 3 floors, then I guess there are 2 cells per floor. Right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it stands to reason. It's a whole tower. I mean, those cells must be, well, large enough, if not as large as the cell assigned to the Lord Commander. Everything about this whole situation feels wrong to Jaime. The hip where he's now sheathing his sword, so he can now draw it with his left hand, feels weird because it's now the right hip. The winter uniform of the King's Guard, which sort of like hangs loose because he lost weight. Everything feels weird. And since we're in his head, we get to see some of the memories he's lingering on right now, like what he's been doing with his spare time. And remember when I puzzled over Jaime's absence at Tyrion's trial, when I said, and I quote myself, why isn't Jaime one of those members of the White Cloak, one of those White Cloaks in the throne room, one of the members of the Kingsguard? I mean, and not as witness, obviously, because some of the White Cloaks are, in fact, witnesses at the trial. But he couldn't be a witness anyway. He missed the entire thing. But why isn't he there in the capacity of Kingsguard? Something doesn't add up here, George. Unless the timeline, am I getting all wrong? And these Jaime chapters are taking place way after the outcome from Tyrion's trial has been, revealed. At some point, I even thought so in my first read years back. But no, it appears that Georgie Boy did place Jaime in the throne room, attending the trial. It's just that Tyrion didn't see his brother because the latter was standing all the way at the back. Unless George covered up this potential plot hole with a retcon, but no, I think that's unlikely. So to sum up, Jaime's brother either doesn't notice him or no longer recognizes him. Tyrion doesn't. And Jaime's son is dead. Jaime's father has disowned him. His twincest partner has kept finding excuses never to be alone in the same room with him ever since they copulated near their dead son's coffin in a place of worship. Yeah, that's right. They did that. Let that sink in. Yeah, what are you going to do? We got a bit of world building here because Jaime is thinking of the rather large shoes he has to fit. All the previous Lord Commander guys, so he's thinking about Barristan Selmy. We know what happened to that geezer. Also Barristan's predecessor, Gerald Hightower, a.k.a. the White Bull. Then way back to the times of Sir Duncan the Tall, formerly known as the Hedge Knight, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Then we get a bunch of names of former commanders that we don't really know much about from the pages of the canonicals, Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, and this very book. Let me just find these names. Thanks God for bookmarks. The Demon of Derry. The Pale Griffith Alling Connington, another Connington here. Then a certain Prince Aemon Targaryen, son of Viserys II, not to be confused with Prince Aemond Targaryen, son of Viserys I. I know. It doesn't help that all these Targaryens tend to choose the same 4 or 5 names in recurrent patterns, And since we're talking about House of Fire and Blood characters, Sir Ryam Redwine is also on Jaime's mind. The guy, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard under Viserys I. We see a lot of him in the House of Dragon, Season 1. And now Jaime Lannister is Lord Commander. Huh? How about that? So the first thing Jaime does is crack open the White Book, which is basically the Kingsguard's big diary. Every night gets an entry chronicling their great deeds, their heroic acts, tourneys, melees, the occasional war crime, all of that. Here, let me read you the description. 2 feet tall and 1.5 feet wide, 1,000 pages thick, fine white vellum bound between covers of bleached white leather with gold hinges and fastenings. The Book of the Brothers was its formal name, but more often it was simply called the White Book. It's basically the wiki of Ice and Fire, but only for members of the Kingsguard. Well, how rude of me. Whoa, would you believe it? This this Huawei rude ringtone. We better kill it right now. So the Wiki of Ice and Fire, but only for Kingsguard and members of the Kingsguard, and minus, what do you call it, hyperlinks. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't just tap on some of those entries and, be transported to a different page. That's not how it works. In that day and age. So yeah, it's got sort of like the white book. Every page is complete with like a bio without links. Bio complete with banner for every knight who served, and complete with a banner of the house that each one belonged to prior to joining the band of brothers. Because they leave all of that behind. Oh, supposedly, much like maesters and so on, and Night's Watch. It has got great miniature illustrations, made by maesters. In this universe, the maesters are kind of like the amanuensis monks, the scribes, sort of what. There's no printing press in this universe. It's sort of like, so you got the amanuensis, sort of like those characters you see in The Name of the Rose, the film with Sean Connery, Christian Slater, based on that great novel by Umberto Eco. But the text, the bio, so to speak, that's the Lord Commander's responsibility to keep up to date. And Jaime's not too happy with his own entry because it's short, unimpressive, uninspiring, and frankly kind of an insult. Not a single mention of how he saved King's Landing from Aerys Targaryen's wildfire plot. Instead, it's all like, oh, Jaime Lannister. No, Jaime Lannister pushed a kid out of a window, killed a king, did a bunch of other shady stuff at the end. No, there's no mention of Bran. I was just being silly. But in the HBO TV series, the authors, Weiss Benioff, they decided to go to another way with this scene because they inserted King Joffrey in there somehow by basically rewriting Jaime's return to King's Landing prior to Joffrey's death. Presumably just to give Joffrey one last chance to behave like an asshole before his wedding / funeral, basically. Sorry. Yeah, because they gave... They have Joffrey say things like, I broke Stannis on the Black Water. Pity you weren't there to help, uncle. You were busy getting captured. Look at this book of brothers. Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning. Sir Duncan the Tall, 4 pages for this guy. Must have been quite a man. Hey, why don't we take a look at Sir Jaime Lannister's great deeds, huh? What? That's it? Really? Just a paragraph? Oh, well, it's not like there's a whole lot of time to fill that sad-looking page, huh? Is there, uncle? I mean, look at you, 40-year-old with one hand. No. And he says stuff like that. The Jack Gleason is spectacular. So anyway, back to A Storm of Swords. Jaime is now reading Barristan Selmy's entry, which, believe it or not, the man, Barristan, the man himself, actually took the time to complete right before leaving King's Landing for good. Now, picture this, if you will. Back in Book 1, this is Sansa 5, when Barristan was removed from office as an excuse for Cersei to make room for Jaime, let's just say that Barristan was none too pleased, to the point that he drew the sword. Yeah, I have the text right here. Yeah, let me read you the quote. Sir Boros and Sir Meryn moved forward to confront him, but Sir Barristan froze them in place with a look that dripped contempt. Have no fear, sirs. Your king is safe. No thanks to you. No thanks to you. I don't know why it came out like that. Even now I could cut through the 5 of you as easy as a dagger cuts cheese. You call that a dagger? This is a dagger. Now I can't stop. If you would serve under the Kingslayer, not a one of you is fit to wear the white. There I said it. He flung his sword at the foot of the Iron Throne. Here, boy, melt it down and add it to the others, if you like. It will do you more good than those swords in the hands of these 5 losers. I'm adding a few words here and there. This is not a verbatim quote. Perhaps Lord Stannis will chance to sit on it when he takes your throne. Ha! There. Which, in case you forgot all the stuff he said, not so much calling Joffrey boy, although that's the one detail that Joffrey gets all hung up about, but, mentioning the fact that Stannis might take the throne. This amounts to treason. So, if you want to apply the point and purpose of the law. So after Sir Barristan left the throne room, and everyone had a couple of minutes to recover from the shock, Joffrey was the first to snap out of it. She shouted that he wanted the dude seized and questioned. I want him seized and questioned now. At which point Janos Slynt, the then commander of the City Watch, was all like, "Yep, I'm on it, mate." And he went after him, followed by his sons, his ugly sons, because this is this is seen from Sansa's POV, so she doesn't miss this opportunity to remind us that according to her, aesthetic sort of sense, Janos Slynt, the Slynts are quite ugly. Yeah, that's it. That's a relevant part. That's a relevant aspect of the Slynts from Sansa's point of view. So the 3 of them went after Barristan Selmy, who was fleeing the throne room, and they went after him, presumably with the intention of gathering a few more gold cloaks for the pursuit of Barristan Selmy. So, as I said, picture this. Selmy is off to the Sword Tower to gather his things. City Watch after him. He locks himself in and knows that once back outside, he'll have to fight his way out of the Red Keep. So, he's got gold cloaks after him, banging on the door. So, what does he do? He sits down and finishes his own entry in the Book of Brothers. I mean, there's stickler for formalities, and then there's Barristan Selmy. We wouldn't want to leave your entry incomplete, would we, Barry? Also, as commentator Manuclear Bomb pointed out on Not a Podcast, on when they're commenting on this very same chapter, he said, "Yeah, why not brag about this? I mean, in your own entry, like Barristan could have concluded his own entry by writing, also, P.S. also concluded this very entry while under attack." And this other one. Okay, gotta go. That's all from me. Love, Barry. So anyway, so Jaime's thinking, wow, this sucks. Is it still, because now he's comparing those 2 entries, Barristan's and his own. I might have a word with HR about updating my performance review, you know what I mean? But of course, this is Jaime, so he doesn't just sit there moping. He decides right there and then to write himself a better legacy. Not literally yet, not handwritten. He talks about life, his own life. But you can see, because the gears are turning in his head. And this guy wants redemption, even if he's not entirely sure what that looks like yet. But we shall see. And besides, he has to learn to write, but before he even does enter his own entry, not to mention other White Cloak's entries. He has to learn to write ornate, characters, type fonts with his non-writing hand, which I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's tricky. Of course, we've all tried once or twice and then gave up, didn't we? Now, I won't be reading you those entries because they're miles long. Suffice it to say that Barristan's entry mentions Sir Duncan the Tall, Melee the Monstrous, last of the Blackfire pretenders, presumably to plug that other novella, The Hedge Knight, Duncan the Tall, as well as possibly The World of Ice and Fire. Could this be Georgie Boy's, I apologize for this buzzing noise in the background. It's a fan. It's a fan. Not a fan. Not a person who is part of a fandom. No, it's a literal fan spinning. Okay, you probably didn't need that explanation. So Jason Mallister, wait a second. Hedge Knight, Duncan the Tall. Yeah, I've got a whole list of names here. So was Georgie Boy, setting the foundation, creating some demand for further books in the the universe. Selmy's entry documents how he kicked ass at various tourneys. Those things seem to be a great, like a big deal. Not even though they're not actual battles. They seem to be a big deal because, well, let's not forget if you make like a wrong step, you could be killed in those things. So they're not just entertaining. It's not like putting he can juggle 3 apples at once. It's not just putting something irrelevant on a resume. These are like real. It's a real thing. So melees, tourneys, these things have to be recorded. And if you win, yes. So that is what Barristan Selmy did on his own entry. He recorded his victories when he unhorsed. And I quote, Robert Baratheon, Oberyn Martell, Leighton Hightower, John Connington, Jason Mallister, and Rhaegar Targaryen. How about that? And he also documents how he rescued the Mad King Aerys II from the Duskendale Rebellion. Yeah, you can see how Martin was laying the foundation to generate demand for some sort of ice and fire companion. What else? Which would then, of course, then materialize in the form of the World of Ice and Fire, which is totally canon. So anyway, he led the attack on Old Wick during Balon Greyjoy's rebellion. That's under King Bob, obviously. And the entry concludes with his dismissal, which took place literally minutes prior to entering this item on the White Book. Okay, I said I wasn't going to read you the whole Barristan Selmy's entry in the White Book, and yet here we are. So I might as well read you. I might as well read you the final part of Jaime's entry. During the sack of King's Landing, he slew King Aerys II at the foot of the Iron Throne, thereafter known as the Kingslayer. Pardoned for his crime by King Robert I Baratheon, served in the honor guard that brought his sister, the Lady Cersei Lannister, to King's Landing to wed King Robert, champion in the tourney held at King's Landing on the occasion of their wedding. There. No prize for guessing which item in that particular paragraph grinds Jaime's gears. Because he's thinking, Gerald Hightower could have at least mentioned, because he was the one, at the time he was the one in charge of writing Jaime's entry. And Gerald Hightower could have at least mentioned how well I performed when we chased after that band of outlaws, the Kingswood Brotherhood. The Kingswood Brotherhood, after all. I did save Lord Sumner's life when Big Belly Ben, gotta love these names, Big Belly Ben was going to bash his head in. And okay, it was ultimately Sir Arthur Dane who defeated the Smiling Knight, that psychopath. But I also faced him and at like 15 years of age and did hold my own. So there. The Kingswood Brotherhood. We encounter this name before, of course, in Area 3, the same book. Tom 07 sings a song about them. There's this guy, Ulmer, on the Night's Watch, who used to be a member of the gang. We learned that in Samuel 2. No, but what is relevant here is the contrast between Arthur Dane, the Sword of the Morning, and the psychotic Smiling Knight. Because Jaime is now thinking, he had wanted to be Sir Arthur Dane all his life, but someplace along the way, he had become the smiling knight instead. You know, a figure of hate and fear as opposed to awe and admiration. But there's no time for metaphors, dear Jaime. There's no time for metaphor or indeed similes, really, because his staff is coming in the White Room, time for a staff meeting. Yeah. And since they're all there, all 7 of them, there's a ritual question that the Lord Commander, Jaime, must ask in this case. Because, so we're all here. Who guards the king? Which sounds like that joke about the dying shop owner, his family all around his deathbed, that he goes, "Oi, if you're all here, who's minding the shop?" Anyway, so it's a ritual question, but the policy is sound. There always has to be someone guarding the king. And when all members of the Kingsguard are away from the throne room, then we find out that family members sometimes may be called in to cover, for the task. Because apparently Osmond Kettleblack Osmond Kettleblack informs us that his brothers Osney and Osfrid are on it. It's okay if you get these 3 all mixed up. I don't know anyone who doesn't get them mixed up. And I think they are meant to be mixed up with one another. George R. Martin conceived them that way, I think. I mean, have you ever encountered someone from the readers, community saying things like, "Oh yeah, Osfrid is a duplicitous bastard, but Osney does have some redeeming qualities." No. And covering for Loras, there's his brother Garland, fan favorite Garland Tyrell, aka the Gallant, I guess. Osmond, in the meantime, is like acting super friendly, all smiles and nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more, with Jaime, as if he and Jaime were like best pals, which they're not. Jaime hates his guts, of course. Because when the two first met in the previous chapter, their exchange went something like this. Osmond, "And where do you think you're going?" "Ha ha," goes Jaime goes, "Into the Sept. See that one right there? The biggest one in the world. I mean to see the Queen. Her Grace is in mourning, and why would she be wanting to see the likes of you?" "Who in the 7 hells are you?" This is Jaime. And Osmond, "A knight of the Kingsguard, if you don't mind, and you'd best learn some respect, cripple, or I'll have that other hand and leave you to suck up your porridge of a morning." Interesting threat. Who am I? I'm the Queen's brother, sir. Escaped, have you? And grown a bit as well, my lord. Okay, her other brother, Dolt, and the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. So now stand aside, or you'll wish you had. So yeah, needless to say, they didn't exactly start on the right foot. And Osmond is all obsequious now, and friendly and slimy. "Oh, Sir Jaime, you look good. Have you done something? Your hair? Yeah, I washed it." There you go. You see, I would have recognized you yesterday if you had looked the way you do today, which is radiant, if you don't mind me saying so. Which Jaime does not buy for a second. Anyway, right away we're reminded that there's one empty chair. That's right, because it's only 6 of them in total, including the Lord Commander, and it has been since A Clash of Kings. Chapter 41, my dear reader, to be precise, because that was when they shipped off Princess Myrcella to Dorne to foster with the Martells. And Sir Aris Oakhart went along, was sent off to guard her. And apparently, because the number of Kingsguard has to be 7 at all costs and at all time, there can't even be a substitute, like a temporary, like a temp. So there's Jaime and 5 other guys, indefinitely, until Myrcella is returned. When and if to King's Landing, which is an interesting thread we will follow up in Feast for Crows, but never mind, there's no rush. So yeah, who are these people? These 5 other guys. Whether there are those who were there before Jaime became Lord Commander, Boros Blount, Meryn Trant, and those who joined while Jaime was away. Balon Swan, Loras Tyrell, and our friend Osmund Kettleblack. The old and the new. A thought that sounds ominous in Jaime's head because it makes him think of the times where the Kingsguard actually was divided, like in the time of the Dance of Dragons there, and after the Hedge Knight and the World of Fire, or the World of Ice and Fire. Here George is now plugging Fire and Blood, even though the book wouldn't come out for another 18 years at the time when Storm was published, but there you go, it was probably in the pipeline. So yeah, the time of the Dance of the Dragons, yeah, there was such a division. Yeah, even twin brothers were divided along the, one line of succession versus the other. So yeah, and so he's thinking, yeah, look at this sorry lot. Will you look at these losers? I mean, Boros and Meryn, cruel, and not such great fighters, actually, And then there's this Osmond guy. I don't know, man. If Arthur Dane was here asking how the Kingsguard was allowed, he'd be asking how the Kingsguard was allowed to sink so low, and I'd have to say, yeah, well, that would be me. I was the prime mover. I was the guy who kickstarted the whole thing. The minute a guy was allowed to slay, first. The minute all right, start again, salsa. The minute a guy was allowed to remain as a white cloak, as a Kingsguard after killing the king, which is the exact opposite of his job description, by the way. Yeah, well, I guess things kind of like went downhill pretty quickly from then on. Yeah, so yeah. Put the blame on Jaime. So, which, I don't know, Jaime, maybe you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. This is me talking. I might be wrong, but you're not the one who admitted, who hired, recruited Boros and Meryn, the notorious two, who beat the crap out of Sansa in the throne room. Orders from Joffrey. I'd say the cloak was stained long ago, Jaime, if I may use a colorful image here. Be it as it may, it's time to get serious, because Jaime now has some dressing down to do. Okay, you guys, your job is to protect the king. So clearly, since the king died on your watch, ergo, it follows that you guys are crap at your job. Did my brother Tyrion do that, by the way? The murder, is it? And it's funny how each of those characters reacts according to his personality. Jaime can tell by their body language. Loras is all like, how dare you say I'm crap at my job? Osmond is more like, meh, what time is lunch? I'm feeling kind of peckish. While Balon Swan is ashamed, and Meryn and Boros, who both can't stand Tyrion, are absolutely positive. Yep, Tyrion did it, yep. He poisoned the wine and then spilled it on the floor to cancel all evidence. There. That's how we know it was the wine and not, say, the pie. It's only Balon Swan who disagrees. Balon Swan, who you might remember, was the only witness at Tyrion's trial who said it was unlikely that Tyrion did it. And he's saying, look, dozens of people could have had access to that chalice while everyone's eyes were pointed at the tower. At the couple. Wow, that was an interesting Freudian slip. They were pointed a celebrity couple, the Joffrey and Marjorie, as they were cutting the pie, and those not to mention all those bloody doves who came out of it. Neat trick, by the way. Yeah, how do you bake live doves into a pie, and somehow the pie, and somehow the dove stay alive and refrain from shitting all over all over the crust. I guess that crust wasn't really meant to be eaten. There, that's just my opinion. No one actually says. No one gave us any instructions, but I really doubt you're supposed to eat the crust that contained those doves. Anyway, so here's a bunch of people that that according to Balon, could have had the access to the chalice, the opportunity, shall we say. You need a motive and opportunity, like in a proper murder mystery, whodunit type thing. And he says, look, in the proximity of that chalice, there were the king's family, the bride's family, the Grand Meister Pycelle, the High Septon as well, huh? And Osmond think it appropriate to have a laugh at this point. He goes, yeah, mystery solved. The High Septon did it. Yeah, there you go. Nah, mate, said Loras, presumably taking him seriously. He goes, no. I'll tell you, no. It was Sansa. Yeah. She had the motive and the means and the opportunity. She wanted my sister Marjorie dead and the king. So there. Kill two birds with one stone. Indeed. Sir Loras, one black amethyst, I might add. I love it how they're all playing detective here. And does that mean that Loras think Tyrion is innocent? That's an interesting one. That's what Jaime's thinking, and this means Sansa needs to be found desperately now. The commander of the City Watch, his mate Adam Marbrand, is looking into that, but no luck so far. Be it as it may, this is Jaime picking up the thread of the conversation. Be it as it may, Joffrey is dead, and now Tommen is king. Okay, he's alive, and I want him to stay that way until he dies of old age. Sir Boros Blount, you don't have a great track record of protecting Tommen, do you? Remember on your way to Rosby when you surrendered Tommen to Jacelyn Bywater without a fight, and the guy brought him back to Tyrion? Yeah, it's all in the Clash of Kings, Tyrion 9. Jaime's been very meta at this point. Plus, you look like you enjoy a snack every now and then, so you're going to love the new job description. Here it is. I have it for you right here. Are you ready? You will be tasting each and every food dish meant for Tommen. Ha! That's right. It's a demotion. How do you like that, huh? You can protest all you want, but I'm in charge. Aha! I'm the big cheese, the big honcho, and you're my bitch, and you will do as I say. Pretty much. Did I mention that these dialogues are slightly paraphrased? Yeah, okay. So, all right. But at this point, Blount even draws his sword and threatens Jaime. And the latter doesn't even seem to be bothered all that much. I mean, he goes, yeah, go on, mate. I only have my left hand to use as my sword hand, so yeah. But let's see how it goes, shall we? I mean, at the end of the day, we're just as bad as each other. So if either of us dies, I mean, the Kingsguard will only improve as a result. Yeah, all right. But I, for one, myself, I'm not speaking of Jaime now. No, this is me. It never ceases to amaze me the level of stupidity of some of these minor villains. You know, I mean, Boros Blount, yeah, going on like, how dare you, Kingslayer? Really, Boros? Not to mention the level of insubordination. I mean, disregard for the hierarchy. I mean, Jaime is the Lord Commander. When I say minor villains, you know, I the thick ones. I don't mean the downright evil villains like Roose Bolton, who, you know, a guy like Roose in Boros's place would probably respond like, a fine idea. And then he would arrange for someone to stab Jaime in the back. But I just mean like these stupid and petty villains. Like I'm reminded of Janos Slynt. Again, you remember from A Clash of Kings when he insulted Tyrion, you know, his host. Not to mention Hand of the King at the time. But he was like, how dare you, imp? I mean, seriously. And what was Boros... right now, what was Boros Blount's endgame? I mean, the outcome from a single combat with Jaime, his own Lord Commander. What did he think was going to happen, even if he did win? That everybody was just going to clap their hands and go, oh, well done there. I guess you're Lord Commander now. Okay, so maybe not stupid. It's not stupid. Maybe it's just impulsive, this Blount. And he might enjoy a drink too many on occasions. So just impulsive. And he, in his defense, he probably wasn't aiming at killing Jaime, because what did he expect was going to happen after that? You know, surrounded by the entire Kingsguard team as he was. I guess he was just trying to prove that he could beat Jaime and that he was therefore still fit for his regular duty. I don't know. Be it as it may, he just thinks about it for a bit. He goes, do I really want to fight Jaime here and now? Then he leaves the room, you know. The sword still sheathed. He leaves the room, you know, cartoon mumbling to himself. And now it's time for Jaime to figure out this unknown quantity, Osmond Kettleblack. Time for another exchange between these two, which predictably will result in more irritation on for Jaime, because this guy is really getting on his nerves. And that certainly isn't helped by the fact that Osmond's attitude is that of the cocky guy who's thinking, you can't fire me. I was appointed by the Queen. You're a knight. A queen beats a knight because the queen can move in every direction as far as the board allows, and you can move in that weird L shape sort of step. Even a bishop can cover longer distances than you. He's a chess buff, this Osmond Kettleblack. No, but really, she replies. Osmond. He replies, the reply that he gives his own commander. Again, he might as well be reclining in his chair, you know, hands intertwined behind his head, feet on the table, chewing on a Granny Smith apple. Not just because the Queen appointed him, but the manner of his appointment. Because if Varys is to be believed, yeah, you know how Osmond Kettleblack, you know, sort of like met the favors of Queen Cersei, Queen Mother Cersei. If Varys is to be believed, here, let me read you the quote. The Kettleblacks report frequently to your sweet sister. This was Varys talking to Tyrion back in Tyrion 2, this same book, Storm of Swords. At which point Tyrion replied, when I think of how much coin I paid those wretched, do you think there's any chance that more gold might win them away from Cersei? The Kettleblacks. And Varys went, yeah, there is always a chance, but I should not care to wager on the likelihood. They are knights now, all three, and your sister has promised them further advancement. And the eldest, Sir Osmond of the Kingsguard, dreams of certain other favors as well, said Varys, tapping the tip of his nose with his index finger. If you know what I mean. You can match the Queen coin for coin, I have no doubt, but she has a second purse that is quite inexhaustible. If you know what I mean. So Tyrion went, are you suggesting that Cersei is having unlawful carnal knowledge with Osmond Kettleblack? At which point Varys was all like, "Oh, not for me to say. What would a eunuch know of such things?" Always like that with Varys, never a straight answer. Huh? But yeah, whether the thing is true or not, we know that Osmond Kettleblack is likely emboldened by his special relationship with none other than the Queen. In fact, given how cocky he is, I bet it's not even true. I don't know. What do you think? I actually wager that he's one of those guys who think, who, me, hanky-panky with the Queen? Ha! She wishes in her dreams, you know what I mean? tss, and yeah, it's just, then he licks the tips of his own finger and, and just places it on his bum and does the sizzling sound. Okay, no, it didn't do that. This is my theory. My theory is that's what Osmond is thinking. Like, yeah, she wishes because I am hot stuff, but no, I'm too good for her. Which would explain why this Osmond Kettleblack behaves as if he was untouchable, because he thinks, the Queen fancies me, so I can't be fired. Because this exchange with Jaime goes like this. Yeah, my background. Yeah, oh, you want to know about me? Yeah, my background is always like top notch. Yeah. I've been fighting pretty much everywhere. A bit here, a bit there, like in the Stepstones as a sellsword for the gallant men. The gallant men, the brave companions. You gotta love these names of essentially mercenaries. So what Jaime wants to know is who gave Osmond his knighthood? I mean, who in their right mind would give this unshaven, cocky bastard his knighthood? And the answer is like, it was I was knighted by Sir Robert Stone. That's right, yeah, Robert Stone, yeah. Which really sounds like, Robin Williams, in Mrs. Doubtfire. What's my name? Oh, I didn't give it to you, dear. Oh my goodness, it's Mrs. Doubtfire. That's it, Doubtfire. Or like in Wayne's World 2. I don't know if you've ever seen those movies from the 90s. We're gonna put together a festival. At which point Christopher Walken goes, a festival. Charming. What's it? Okay, I'm not going to engage in a Christopher Walken impression because I'm the only person on the planet who's crap at it. Charming, a festival. What's it called? And they at that point, Michael Myers, Wayne, just looks for inspiration around the room because he just came up with that idea. He just made it up. So he's looking for a name of bands that he wishes he had thought of earlier. So he sees a Woodstock bands and a name. So what's the festival is going to be called? Where he sees a poster for like Woodstock, and he immediately goes, "Okay, yeah, it's gonna be called Wayne Stock." But the challenge continues. Then he has to list the names of the bands that will take part. They'll attend and perform. So he looks around the room for various items, like he sees a couple of CDs. Aerosmith, Pearl Jam, Van Halen, and he keeps looking. An old man fashioning a kayak out of a log. Yeah, because there happens to be, for no reason, an old man fashioning a kayak out of a log in that recording studio. It's an actual trope on TV tropes. It's called, what's it called? I wrote it down somewhere. It's hilarious. It's called line of sight. That's it. Line of sight name. Like in The Usual Suspects, etc., etc. Anyway, so it's probably bullshit, is my point, as Jaime figures. There was no Robert Stone. You conjured it up using a dead king's name and putting together a dead king's name and the material this tower is made of. I bet. So then he dismisses Osmond. Time to turn to Meryn Trant now. All right, Meryn, what's your story? Huh? Interesting, by the way. Interesting how the order of Kingsguard guys that Jaime chooses to address and then dismiss determines the level of privacy each guy will get in their dressing down. Because, like, Boros got humiliated in front of everyone else. Osmond's chat with Jaime was witnessed by everyone minus Boros, and so on. So, Meryn, what's your story, huh? What's this about you beating up Sansa Stark under orders from Joffrey? Rest in peace. Where does it say? Where does it say it here on our white book? Where does it say That it's cool for us to beat up women and children, huh? Aha! Aaron Sorkin had an answer to that. Remember that line from A Few Good Men? I hold here the Marine outline for recruit training. Would you turn to the chapter that deals with code reds? Good. That was Kevin Bacon in the trial, the courtroom drama type thing. Because of course he knows that code red is not an official practice. But Tom Cruise displays some quick thinking there in the film, in the script. Because he goes, yeah, well, in this book there's no chapter explaining where the mess hall is, but that doesn't mean that Marines don't have meals. Oh. Boy, do I digress today. But Meryn Trant isn't so quick-witted. He just goes, yeah, well, are you telling me we're not supposed to obey the king now? Dude, that king was a psycho, okay? And this other king is like 8. You protect the king, but obey my father, the hand, my sister, the queen, and myself from now on, okay? There's no nepotism at all around here, by the way. I'm still unclear as to who told Jaime about Trant beating up Sansa, but it's probably one of those things that don't get mentioned on the page, the things that happen off screen, unless I'm wrong. So anyway, Meryn Trant too gets dismissed, at which point Jaime turns to Balon Swan, and he goes, look, mate, you're cool in my book, in my white book, you're cool to be sure. It's just that your family, okay, your dad never chose any sides. Old age, you claim. Okay, his fighting days are over, yada, yada, yada. Okay, all right. But your brother, Donald, okay, quick recap on the deeds of Donald Swan. If we turn to the appendix on Clash of Kings, we find that Donald Swan, heir to Stonehelm, listed as part of bannermen sworn to the king in Highgarden, Renly Baratheon. Which means, by the way, that Loras Tyrell, also in the room right now, must know this Donald personally, I'm guessing. Anyway, the twist comes later because after Renly was whacked by the Shadow Baby, more on that later, Donald was one of those guys who switched to Stannis. And then again, in A Clash of Kings, Tyrion 11, Tyrion is thinking, he approved his, Tyrion was thinking, and here's the quote, he approved of his sister's choice of Sir Balon Swan to take the place of the slain Preston Greenfield. However, pleading illness, his father, that's Balon's father, Lord Gullion Swan, had remained in his castle, taking no part in the war. And his eldest son, Gullion's eldest son, had ridden with Renly and now Stannis, while Balon the younger served at King's Landing. So, first Renly, then Stannis, and the latest we learn here for the first time is that this Donald was captured in the Battle of the Blackwater, then ransomed and made to bend the knee to Joffrey, and now Tommen. So now Jaime reasonably asks, okay, first of all, yeah, only Balon Greyjoy and Robert Stark are missing from the collection of kings that your brother swore loyalty to. And then what's going to happen when the next usurper comes along and he switches sides again? What will you do when you're forced to choose between family and your oaths to the crown? And Balon has the perfect answer to that, because he goes, well, I know what I won't do. I won't do what you did under those same circumstances. Remember King Aerys II? And Jaime, who is certainly not likely to forget that, is actually satisfied with the answer, because that's exactly the answer he was hoping for. Dismissed, off you go. Although really Sir Balon doesn't know how close he got to being inspected under suspicion of disloyalty, because I happen to remember the passage back in Tyrion 2, A Clash of Kings. At a toast to the king, Balon was overheard saying, "We're gonna need 3 cups for that," because someone proposed a toast to the king, and Balon said, "We're going to need 3 cups for that." Yeah, because at the time, with Stannis Baratheon, Balon Greyjoy, and Balon Greyjoy not having declared themselves kings yet, the three kings on the board were Joffrey, Robb Stark, and Renly Baratheon, right? Unless I'm very much mistaken. So 3 cups. Anyway, so Varys overheard that and duly reported it to Tyrion, although the latter, as act in hand, decided it was just a joke, so he let it slide. Oh, Loras, alone at last. So Loras is still feeling hurt in his pride because earlier on, Jaime had a go at the Kingsguard, as in, you had one job, keep the king alive. One job you had. So the pissing contest, starts right away. All right, mate, so you made it to Kingsguard at only 17. But when I was tapped for it, I was younger. I was better than you. I was bigger. I was stronger. And I was quicker. There. Whoa, yeah. And now you're just older, pops. Again, the level of insubordination here, I swear, nor does Jaime's next line land any better, because he goes, yeah, but you might at least show some respect for your elders, pal. You can learn from them. What, like you learned from Boros and Meryn? Dude, listen, kid, I learned from Kingsguard like Gerald Hightower, if you don't mind, and Arthur Dane, not to mention good old Barristan. Let me see. Here, Prince Lewin of Dorne, Sir Olswell Went, and Sir John Arthur Darry. I don't remember much about these guys. Those were proper knights. Boros and Meryn. Ha! At which point Loras has a comeback that seems taken straight from Jack Nicholson's, that Jack Nicholson's line and the Prizzy's honor. Yeah, well, if they were so good. Okay, I told you I was not going to do impressions. If they were so good, how come they're so dead? Yeah, that's that's what Loras says, which is a bit dumb under those circumstances. The life expectancy, with the notable exception of Barristan Selmy, the life expectancy of a White Cloak is not really, that... Actually, no, I don't know. Jaime realizes that this conversation is beginning to resemble a confrontation between himself right now and his past self, a younger Jaime, a Jaime when he just been tapped to the Kingsguard, or when he was the same age as Loras is right now, which I think is exactly, if Cersei's 34 years old, Jaime is exactly twice Loras's senior. Anyway, and that's when Jaime realizes that having been too good, too talented, too much of a champion too soon in life might not have been the best thing ever happened to him. Those kind of like all those athletes, who reach fame and glory too soon in life and then they just squander it and blow it. Yeah. Same old trope. So yeah, that's probably what happened to me, he's thinking. So he now, anyway, he changes tactic, and he slips in a completely different line of questioning, which kind of answers a long-standing mystery we have been plagued with since A Clash of Kings. I mean, it's not the kind of revelation that makes you go, "Oh my God!" Yeah, no, don't worry. Those kinds of revelation are coming in this book, but this one, this still answers one of our questions. Back in Tyrion 15 from A Clash of Kings, we heard of this urban legend, which kept spreading uncontrolled, thanks in no small part to singers who kept writing and singing songs about it, namely the story of Renly Baratheon, who supposedly came back from the grave to don his armor one more time and fight alongside the Tyrell army, the Tyrell Corporation, on the Blackwater. And, if this was the Lord of the Rings or the Wheel of Time, the narrative of the dead warriors coming back to fight alongside the living, one could buy it. But in A Song of Ice and Fire, nah. Jaime doesn't buy it. He goes, no. So, interestingly, the mister that was set up in chapter 67 of A Clash of Kings gets its final payoff slash solution reveal in A Storm of Swords chapter 67. Coincidence? I think not, Georgie boy. Well done there. So anyway, so Jaime goes, all right, mate, the truth now. Who was really fighting in Renly's armor back in the Blackwater? Huh? Who was it? And Loras realizes that he can't lie because falsify an answer to his commander because of the vow, the vow that he took. So he can't refuse to give an answer. So he finally confesses. He just looks at stares at the tip of his feet and goes, "Oh, it was my brother Garland." Louder, okay. It was my brother Garland. Okay, Garland the Gallant, everyone's favorite. Lord Littlefinger suggested it. He said it would frighten Stannis's ignorant men-at-arms. All this Peter Baelish, huh? Always embedded with the Tyrell Corporation. Who knows what other suggestions he might have made to the Highgarden ruling family, huh? Anyway, so yeah, there. Mystery solved. It was Garland. See, I told you it was going to be one of those mysteries that would just make you go, oh, okay, and just move on with your life. So, all right. I didn't exactly lose sleep over it. Yeah, but who was really wearing Renly's armor? Mystery solved. So, speaking of Renly, Jaime wants to know whether it was okay. But by the way, yeah, Renly, whatever did you do with his body? There will be this recurrent motif of where are the remains of this person, that other person, Eddard, for example. But in this case, Renly, what did you do with his body? Nobody knows where he's buried. Haha. Well, I know. Because but I thought you might. Because I thought you might know Loras. I thought you might know where Renly's remains happen to rest in peace. Because you were the last person seen with him while on his dying day, right after you casually slew Sir Aemon Kai and Sir Robert Royce because you thought they had some part in his murder. And Loras, yes, yeah, I know, Renly's body, yeah, that, I buried him in a secret place way back in Storm's End. It was our special place, and no one will disturb him there. Yeah, we will always have Storm's End. This is kind of like Brokeback Mountain, isn't it? Didn't one of the two characters from the movie end up buried there because the other character wanted to bury him there? And I just realized I spoiled Brokeback Mountain for you. Sorry, my bad. All right, my apologies. Loras, is thinking we will always have Brokeback Mountain. Okay, I won't be singing that song. Anyway, Jaime continues his third degree. He goes, okay, since we're on the subject of Renly's murder, yeah, I still have Brienne in a cell. Remember her? Yeah? What do I do with her? It's not for Loras to decide, but it was more like a rhetorical question. So she goes, yeah, what do I do with her now? Oh, well, I'll tell you what you do with her. She deserves capital punishment. Loras has no doubts. Because she let Renly die. She didn't defend him. Okay, so that's Loras's actual stance on the matter. According to him, Brienne didn't actually stab Renly, personally, but she just watched him die and did nothing, which I think it's kind of different from the previous Jaime chapter where he, quote-unquote, Loras, arrested Brienne on the charge of regicide. Yeah, because regicide means I am arresting you under the power invested in me by this white cloak. I'm arresting you for the charge of regicide, which means personally killing a king. But anyway, Jaime figures, all right, by the same token, Loras, boy, by the same token, you should have all been convicted for failing to protect Joffrey. Huh? How about that? Oh, and by the way, here we get a bit of backstory on how Brienne was made Kingsguard in the first place, because she supposedly won a melee with a trick, which, as Jaime reminds us, is not something Loras is entirely innocent of, because he is no stranger to using tricks in melees, because that's how he won against Gregor Clegane, by riding a mare in heat against a foe mounted on a bad-tempered stallion. So there you go. Anyway, so Loras' line of defense is like, yeah, okay, well, we quote-unquote failed to protect Joffrey, but there was nothing we could have done. I mean, what killed Joffrey wasn't a foe in flesh and blood, which really Loras totally walks into this one, because Jaime has the perfect reply. Well, the shadow assassin wasn't a foe in flesh and blood either. There. Which makes me wonder, because, okay, so Jaime is prepared to believe in the shadow assassin, but not in Renly's ghost. The justification for the distinction that he makes comes in the form of this sort of flattering description that he gives us of Brienne. Here, let me read it to you. Brienne is ugly and pighead stubborn. What a great way to start a sentence. But she lacks the wits to be a liar, and she is loyal past the point of sense. No, each of these, not one of them is a compliment. These are all insults in one way or another. Even the compliment is a backhanded one. But, but I don't think she's a liar. And, we spent months on the road, and she kept telling me the same shadow hitman story over and over again. So I don't think she's lying. And this is where Loras focuses really hard on what happened that fateful day. Here, let me read you the passage, because this is where the penny drops. The gorget was cut through. One clear stroke. Through a steel gorget. Renly's armor was the best, the finest steel. How could she do that? I tried myself, and it was not possible. She's freakish strong for a woman, but even the mountain would have needed a heavy axe. And why armor him and then cut his throat? Yeah, that's right, because it was Brienne who helped Renly into his armor. So Loras gave Jaime a confused look. If not her, though, how could it be a shadow? Yeah, well, mate, you'll have to ask her, and do keep an open mind, will you? Yeah, when you question her. And as Loras is about to leave, he has a terrible revelation. This is what I meant when I told you the penny drops. Hang on a minute. If the shadow assassin was real, then I murdered Robert and Aemon, who were totally innocent. He says that, but not before saying something that would totally break Brienne's heart if she was within, earshot. Because he find out that really Renly didn't think much of Brienne. In fact, he found her to be absurd and grotesque. Apparently, he only kept her close because, apart from qualifying with combat skills, at least she was loyal and disinterested, And, yeah. So that was it. So she wanted to be there and potentially die for her king without expecting a reward, Karma yoga, as it were. And at this point, Jaime is finally left alone in the White Room after Loras leaves, and is left wondering, hey, Loras slew two of his sworn brothers for failing to protect the man he loved. And I, on the other hand, I am at best just a little bit rude with these guys who failed to protect Joffrey, technically my son. Because, yeah, I should be mad about this idea of the food and wine taster not occurring to anyone before I came along. Yeah, we should have had a food and wine taster way back. I should be mad for no one coming up with that idea, but I'm just mildly irritated. What's that about? And the final thought Jaime entertains while he's looking at his stomp where his sword hand used to be All right, I said I was going to look at the records, combing for a precedent of a commander of the King's Guard, while a prosthetic hand, commander of King's Guard who had a prosthetic hand, and no luck. But it did occur to me that there was a commander of the City Watch, and not too long ago, missing a hand. That's right, because I don't know if you remember that, but right after Janos Slynt and before Adam Marbrand, there was this guy appointed by Tyrion, that Jacqueline, someone calls it Jacqueline, but I don't know. Jacelyn Bywater, rest in peace. That's right, he had an iron hand, which kind of explains his nickname, Iron Hand. Duh. So if Jacelyn, I'll call it Jacelyn, okay? Let's just leave it at that. He had an iron hand. I may well have a gold hand, huh? How's that? How's an idea? Which I don't know, Jamie. With what money, huh? Because I honestly don't remember at this point. Amnesia. But isn't Tywin the sort of guy who would say things like, "You're not going to prance around with that stupid, ridiculous thing attached to your stump while carrying my house name"? So certainly, if that's how he feels, I don't remember if later on Tywin will or will not have a go at Jaime for prancing around with that stupid gold thing attached to his stump. But he's certainly not likely to pay for it if he doesn't approve. And I mean, unless Jaime has a savings account somewhere, it looks like he would have to depend on Daddy for the cash. And gold. Yeah, it would have to be hollow. How much would it weigh? A whole piece of gold, the size and shape of a hand. I imagine it would be like a pound or a little less than half a kilo. So yeah, it would have to be hollow for sure. Still, it would cost. It will cost, and your daddy is not likely to pay for it, Jamie, because he disowned you. So yeah, so there, chew on that. But okay, minor spoiler: Jamie does get his gold hand eventually, which is the payoff to a couple of bits of foreshadowing. First, in this same book, Tyrion 2, there is a hint at a Lannister getting a gold prosthetic of sorts when Varys tells him, "Your poor nose," because Tyrion had part of his nose chopped off in the Blackwater, courtesy of Sir Mandon Moore. At which point, here, let me read you the quote. Tyrion rubbed irritably at the scab. "Perhaps I should have a new one made of gold." What sort of nose would you suggest, Varys? A nose made of metal, like that character from Mad Max Fury Road. I forgot his name. And then, so a prosthetic made of gold, foreshadowing of sorts. And then, of course, there's the line sung by Simon Silvertongue, who incidentally happens to have a nickname also pointing at a part of the body that's made of a noble metal, a precious metal. So the guy Simon Silvertongue, the guy who ended up cooked in a stew for trying to blackmail Tyrion, precisely with the line that refers to hands of gold, because the line was, "For hands of gold are always cold, but a lover's hands are warm." Which, I mean, is not just this line, but in context, the whole song, you remember the story, right? The whole song kind of revealed the story of this Hand of the King who had a lover out of town. So yeah, that's it. Didn't end up prettily for Simon Silvertongue. But yeah, Hands of Gold, which, hands of gold, gold hands are supposed to be the clasping hands forming the collar necklace type thing worn by the hand of the king. Hand, yeah, lots of hand imagery here. But it also may well be a foreshadowing for another thing. But yeah, I will shut up about it because that hasn't yet, we haven't read that particular event yet. For now, the golden hand Jaime fancies right now will have to do as a payoff to that setup, to that foreshadowing bit. Yeah, so this is what he's thinking, and also, and first there's another price I need to pay, or there's another debt I need to pay. So we kind of like left there, like, but we sort of know what that is, right? Right. Anyway, okay, Tyrion. Never mind. We'll find out. Let's just read on and find out. In fact, looking forward to seeing you in the next commentary. Looking forward to talking to you in the next commentary, which is a Sansa commentary, POV, Sansa POV. And this concludes the commentary for this chapter. If you enjoy this sort of content, don't forget to do all of the things that regular people do under such circumstances. And speak to you soon. Bye.